As Earth continues to forever circulate around the sun, keeping our world sustainable should be one of our utmost priorities. However, as Canada's population proceeds to flourish and thrive, the pollution of Canada's waters is gradually becoming one of the most imminent issues that needs to be addressed within the coming years. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the environmental issue of water pollution in Canada, especially regarding the First Nations peoples. Although Canada's waters are generally conceived as being relatively clean, this is not entirely the case for the First Nations peoples, as harmful elements like E. coli and trihalomethanes and uranium is allowed to thrive in their waters. According to a survey done by the First Nations Information Governance Center, about 32.2% of First Nations peoples consider their water to be unfit for drinking, with some resorting to boiling their water to ensure their safety. In 2016, about 85 of the total 135 water advisories in Canada meant to warn about the danger of contaminated water belonged to the First Nations reserves, being unable to obtain the proper consideration needed from their Canadian government. As a result, the appalling contamination of Canada's waters can commonly be attributed to numerous elements, such as accidental oil spills, sewage being dumped into Canada's waters, ash from fossil fuels mixing with water vapor to produce acid rain, and chemical pesticides. For instance, in northern Ontario, a derailed train accidentally spilled approximately 63,500 liters of oil at around April 4th, 2013, harming both marine life and nearby First Nations peoples. As a consequence, the negative implications water pollution inflicts upon both First Nations and non-First Nations peoples can simply be catastrophic. In addition to harming aquatic wildlife within the area, several First Nations peoples are forced to suffer from constant poisoning, discomfort, and illnesses due to the way their water is polluted. In numerous cases, First Nations peoples are essentially forced to bathe in irritable water, causing rashes amongst the skins of many, especially including elders and children. In 2000, Walkerton, Ontario suffered the losses of 7 people and sustained more than 2,000 sickened people due to their water system being contaminated with harmful bacteria. With these additional exposures to detrimental contaminants in their water, First Nations are inevitably put at a higher risk of cancer, numerous gastrointestinal disorders, and several stomach problems. Moreover, this pollution also damages the living spaces of the First Nations peoples as a whole, severely affecting their way of life as well as one of their resources for food, fish. In 2015, a First Nations tribe went as far as to file a $30 million lawsuit against the Canadian National Railway, mainly due to 2 oil spills having ruined their environment, put their health in danger, and restricted their ability to properly hunt and gather food. Even if they utilize other alternative means, like purchasing bottled water, in order to obtain one of their basic necessities, the expenses they accumulate will eventually become mind-numbingly high, as they are forced to buy jugs of water to last a mere few weeks. Take it from one of the chiefs of the Batchewana First Nation, Dean Sayers.
Yeah, we really have some issues with the water and the condition of the water. In particular, we have to bring in a lot of bottled water because people can't drink the water. In some of our villages, Batchewana has 3 villages on the eastern shore of Lake Superior in the Sault Ste. Marie area, and a lot of our people can drink their water. We have access to clean drinking water through the city of Sault Ste. Marie, but a couple of our other communities struggle at various times. There's boil water advisories, and when there are boil water advisories or our water has a bad odor or there's some issue about the water, our people don't use it. We honor those kind of cautions. So in those instances, we end up having a lot of bottled water brought in, and sometimes big cisterns of water, and those carry a huge cost to be able to provide people with bathing water, drinking water, cooking water, washing their clothes water. And at first glance, you wouldn't think that wouldn't be so bad, but we don't have an envelope for that. So we take it from programming. We take it from here, we take it from there, children's programming, teen programming, health programming. It's all about health, but we struggle. And it's really not fair to our people who are already struggling to be able to enjoy a good quality of life. We have so many issues already. So it's really unfortunate. It's not fair that in this day and age that we don't have quality drinking water quality water to use daily as a people.
So how do the First Nations care for and heal their environments? Considering themselves as the stewards of the earth, the First Nations see themselves as responsible for their surroundings and are devoted to treating them with respect, ensuring that things are taken from their environment only if it is absolutely necessary. Most of the resources they used were entirely natural, creating clothing and medicine from their limited circumstances. Consequently, believing that the natural world is sacred, several have created a number of organizations to protect Canada's lands and waters. For example, the First Nations Health Authority, a British Columbian organization, offers a considerable amount of programs and services that all encourage a healthy environment and a state of well-being. This is especially true with their drinking water safety program, as they test and analyze drinking water, provide valuable information for ways to promote safe drinking water, and investigate any waterborne illnesses, just to name a few. Some First Nations have also actively declined shockingly hefty deals and went to court for the sake of their environment, being unable to be persuaded by any monetary gain. With all this being said, how can the government attempt to adopt these natural approaches of the First Nations to care for, protect, and nurture the environment? Firstly, switching to more renewable sources of energy like wind turbines and solar panels would do wonders to limit the amount of pollution that is exhibited to Canada's waters, as it mostly follows through with the First Nations' perspective of respecting the environment. This way, less carbon dioxide can be emitted into the atmosphere to later cause acid rain, greatly benefiting the environment by following through with the First Nations' teachings of caring for and creating a sustainable world. Additionally, other initiatives, similar to the Government of Canada's Plan for Action for Drinking Water in First Nations communities in 2008, can be enacted, issuing new protocols to ensure clean water and educating the public about the importance of safe drinking water. This is considering that the Plan for Action was a significant success, reducing the total amount of dangerous water systems from 193 to 85, while also handing out more than 10,000 informational school kits designed to teach children about the importance of water. By doing this, the Government of Canada will actively be able to assist their fellow First Nations, respecting their environment and encouraging a healthy mind, body, and spirit. And regarding informing schools about the significance of water, the Government of Canada could also attempt to further educate the public about the freshwater dilemma the First Nations are currently still experiencing, calling others to assist their fellow natives. After all, the Government of Canada already has a webpage dedicated to this objective, informing businesses, students, and citizens in general about the several ways they can actively work to prevent water pollution in Canada. This can help the First Nations population immensely, receiving help from non-First Nations people other than the government, allowing people to adopt the same mindset of being a steward of the earth. Finally, simply commencing operations to clean up any areas of concern can contribute heavily towards the well-being of First Nations peoples, restoring contaminated areas back to its original forms and showing a degree of respect towards the first settlers of Canada. And with that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me your time on this fine and pleasant day.